Yes. All right. Good evening and welcome to today's evening session. We are live now. Good to go ahead with our unit 2 as for your CDP, Child Development Pedagogy of CTET, which mainly concentrates on inclusive education. That's the first subtopic, name itself, inclusive education and children from diverse backgrounds, which we have discussed yesterday. And today we have to continue with what's known as the learning difficulties or learning disabilities as they are known. And so we'll be going to cover that today, and coming tomorrow, we are going to discuss about the gifted and creative. These are the 3 areas from which all the 5 questions are asked. So just 3 videos of about 45 minutes to 1 hour each, and followed by 1 full session of PYQs and MCQs on this. 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 is quite possible. Okay, so this is a special gift and bonus from Dr. Yakaiah Inspiring Teachers team, because fortunately I happen to do my PhD in learning disabilities, and a half a dozen scholars under my PhD supervision have done their PhD in LDs. All right, so before we move formally, let me share this on the Telegram group. Those who are on WhatsApp are able to join by now. Only thing is I myself have to share in the Telegram group, as our editor is not a member of Telegram group, so he shares only to the WhatsApp groups. All right, that's okay. Fine, we do go ahead. Let me copy this and share in the CTET 21 Inspiring Teachers. As you are aware, we have that WhatsApp group, Telegram group. And if you are not a member of this, please do join. Or if you are very new to this channel, to my sessions, do visit us and continue for 2 to 3 sessions. And if you like, do subscribe and join. If you feel like this is not for me, that's okay. If you think anybody will get benefited of it, please do introduce to them, share them, and it's for them to choose or not after visiting 2 or 3 sessions. By the way, this season, as you are aware, I have dedicated to provide a full free guidance, no hidden charges, 100% free guidance. In spite, I have to bear certain both on the face visible and invisible expenditure, but that's fine. Okay, I have made a decision for this season, so we will be providing it. All right, let me check on if you have joined now live to have any questions on yesterday's topic. That's with regard to any of those. Please do share your questions or queries. Yes, we have got Mazabin, welcome back, and off late again you have become regular live learner. Most welcome. And waiting for Vinay Krishna and Mitu Gaud. Okay, so a few names by heart to me by now. Those who are regular learners and live active responders. All right. Okay, with that introductory words, let me start recording as well. And for future, because we have to improve them, in future, we would like to improve these videos, adding on the required pictures, text, headings, and all that. So welcome back once again to continuation of inclusive education, the second subtopic of second unit of CDP CTET syllabus, which talks about learning difficulties or learning disabilities. The word is used, but I myself prefer use learning difficulties, rather children with unique learning needs. That's what the latest and appropriate word to call them. But okay, in the industry, it is popular as learning disabilities or learning difficulties. For sake of your convenience, learner's convenience, exam point of view, I use, but otherwise I don't love or like or wish to use the disability, because The moment you say learning disability, you are looking at that part which is missing, which is deficient, which is lacking in them. Rather, when we say difficulties, yes, we are looking at that also in a way negative, but at least somewhat I feel better. Otherwise, learning disabilities is an American-based popularly used word, and learning difficulties is a UK-based popularly used word in the literature. Otherwise, as far as characteristics, the group of children, both are same. Now, the fundamental question is, who are they? What is that learning difficulties is? As a teacher, you might have come across some children. Of course, our typical three categories of average, above average, below average, right? These three typical categories are there as a teachers for us. Apart from this, from among average, above average, some children secure 50, 60, 70, 80, even 90% in all subjects, except in one or two areas. Have you come across as a teacher such children? All papers, all areas of subjects, good marks, 60, 70, 80, 90 also even, but only maths, problem. For another child, only science is a problem. Third child, only social is a problem. Fourth child, only Hindi, English, Telugu. There is no exception. Can be any of this. Such children typically are known as children facing learning difficulties, or children with learning disabilities, or children with specific learning needs, or children who are in need of unique learning needs. These are the different terminology used. But to simplify the concept of learning difficulties or the learning disabilities is, LDs are those children who face problem in one or more areas such as reading, writing, speaking, that is speech and language, or arithmetic. And you may be thinking, yeah, we know some children are underachievers. No, these are not underachievers. In spite of having average or above average IQ, 90 to 110 and more than that. Second thing, any of the disabilities, the typically known physically, mentally challenges are not the major cause, are not the cause of their underachievement. A third important characteristic which distinguishes and determines to understand and identify these children is the criteria of discrepancy. Their general intellectual capacity versus current level of achievement. Their intellectual capacity is 100, 110, 120, 130 IQ. Current level of achievement in that specific area. Otherwise, yes, their achievement is also good, comparable to their capacity, is 40%, 30%, 60%, 50% discrepancy. Now, how can you expect a question on this? Which of the following areas do you think children with learning difficulties face challenges? Option 1, reading. 2, writing. 3, speech and language. 4, all the above. Basic knowledge-based simplest question, right? A little higher level analytical or comprehension you want to go. Which of the following are not the characteristic features of children with learning difficulties or disabilities? Option 1, low IQ. Option 2, low academic achievement in all areas. Option 3, physical or social deprivation or disability. Option 4, all the above. None of these, please note that. No deficiency in IQ or general academic backwardness or emotional or social deprivation is a major cause for their underachievement. So therefore, it is a person by name Samuel Kirk in 1963 for the first time coined this word. Samuel A. Kirk, K-I-R-K, but otherwise For short, he is known as Samuel Cook. So I'll just show you a small PPT, which I have prepared for the purpose of this topic. So with the help of which we can move rather better, right? Yes, let me share this in a PowerPoint slideshow mode. Yes, this will give a good visual appearance for us. All right. So here you could see children with learning difficulties. That's what I prefer the word instead of disabilities. So I love to use this. Teaching methods and skills. In one context, I was giving a seminar presentation on this. So I have prepared. And for your purpose, what is required, I have edited it. Don't worry. It is according to your syllabus. So Dr. Yakaiah, myself, teacher, educator, and coach. Dr. Yakaiah 2020@gmail.com. For any of your needs, you can reach me here on this. All right. Yes. So here you could see learning difficulties. A child, when he looks at the book, this is how he is finding out. Okay. Please move this window away from the shared application. Yes, but there is a problem somehow. The problem is coming with this PPT. All right. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, you could see title only like yesterday. I understand that. So that I don't want it to go that way. So what I'll do is quickly, I'll just close this and save it in PDF mode and then get back to you so that we will go ahead. All right. Yes. Just a minute. That's all. Otherwise, this, let me reshare and check. No, better. No risk. In order to avoid any additional risk, simply I do. Yes, just save it as a PDF and share it with you. Just 2 minutes. Okay, save as PDF, publish. Yes, yes, this is it. Yes. Now let me go back here and share the PDF version. Yes, this is PDF version. Share it. Yes. All right, I'm back with the PDF version of the PPT. So you will be able to see not just only the title, but through the slides, which I am sharing with you. All right. Let me check. What do you see on screen? Yes, it's good. All right. Yes. So that's the first slide with my name and email ID I have provided. If you want to contact, you can send a mail. That's one opportunity for those who are not members of my WhatsApp groups or a Telegram group. All right. Okay. So when he looks in the book, if this is how the letters are visible, what is the challenge this child is facing? Intellectual challenge, emotional challenge, learning challenge, physical challenge. This can be a comprehension or analytical question. Simply can give a picture like this. Not the trend as of now you see, but in future quite possible. Otherwise can give a description. When a child look into a book, what you find is all letters and words jumbled. What is the challenge, learning challenge this child is facing? Physically challenged, intellectually challenged, socially challenged, learning challenged, or learning difficulties or disabilities. So what's your response? Yes, that's right. It is learning difficulties or learning disabilities. All right, chalo, let's move from here. If you are able to see it properly, please just type in yes. Famous persons with learning difficulties. Let me check your messages. Are you with me? Able to see the slides? Hope indeed I could see from my end, it's fine. Learning challenge. Yes, that's the right answer from Vinay Krishna for the previous question. Raju, good evening, Raju, and welcome to live sessions. All right. Yes, somebody confirm. Yes, able to see the famous persons with learning difficulties, or simply say yes, PPT. right? For short. That's how I get the feedback, and we do go ahead. Yes. So famous persons you find here with LDs, interestingly, from innovative scientists, including the very popular your Einstein, Thomas Alva Edison, Faraday, Michael Faraday. You have, they are belonging to dyslexic. All right. It seems in case of Thomas Alva Edison, as most of you are, yes, from Mahazin, Mahazin, welcome back. Yes, that's good. It seems Thomas Alva Edison's parents were called and mother came and asked the teacher what it is. You take this idiot, I'm sorry to use that word, but literally many literature writes that he's good for nothing fellow. You take him out of school. We don't want him in our school. Thanks to the great spirit of that mother. What she said, you know only to teach what you know, but not to teach how each individual differ. I'll teach my own child. And hats up to that mother. That's how we have Thomas Alva Edison today in this bright light. If we could do, even we could overcome the limitation of the nature set timings, thanks to Thomas Alva Edison and Michael Faraday. Of course, these two together, the current, right? Okay. And in between, Einstein. All right. So you have not only those in art and design, you have great stage and screen personalities. All right. I don't know much about these personalities. Engineering and architecture, also some of their sporting skill, leadership, at least leadership. Churchill, we are all able to recognize him, right? And the creative writers, Yeats is after Shakespeare, one of the popular names I know. Yeats, okay, and other writers are there. Still, I have another slide to give you rather better version of these people. You see here, Tom Cruise, Albert Einstein, Christine Anderson, Goldberg, Walt Disney, at least Walt Disney, Disney Channel, and those popular Mickey Mouse cartoonist. So thus they are so popular. So LD doesn't mean like persons with intellectual challenges, that is your MR, mentally challenged kind of thing. Only that specific area they have problem. Otherwise, they are average, above average, extraordinary, brilliant also. All right. Okay, so yes, this person, that's what I was talking about. Samuel Kirk, K-I-R-K, one of my favorite psychologist, educationist, right? So what's that? He is the person to coin this word called LD, learning difficulties or the learning disabilities. He called that there are some children who have problem in either reading, writing, arithmetic, speech and language, one or more areas only, rest all other areas fine, are known as children with learning difficulties. All right, so let's see what is the concept or the definition of LDs. Learning disability is a diverse group that express major problems in the use of listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. Speech and language, also speaking, that's how it, and arithmetic skills. All right, okay. So what are the causes of LD? Sometimes the questions are asked about this. Minimal brain dysfunction. Please underline and note this particular word. It is minimal brain dysfunction, not the disability. Brain disability is something to do with the disorder, disability, something to do with the MR. But with regard to these children with learning difficulties, they are not disabled. They are not disordered. They don't have any mental challenge or brain damage. There is a dysfunction. Still they could see the alphabet called P, but how do they see instead of normal P, they see like this. Still they are able to see D, But how do they see D is like this instead of this? Visual problem is not there. Brain functioning is also there, but only dysfunctioning some. So please note this. Brain damage, which of the following is a cause of learning disability? Option 1, brain damage. Option 2, brain disorder. Option 3, brain dysfunction. Option 4, mentally challenged. What do you choose? Yes, it's option number 3, brain dysfunction, not disability nor disorder. All right. Okay, let's go ahead from here. Let's move on. Okay. Yes. Yes. Further causes includes genetic reasons, hyperactivity. In your syllabus, we also have one what is known as hyperactivity related. We also have ADHD. Anybody have an idea what ADHD stands for? Hope you know it. Just type in ADHD. Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. There are some children in your class at times cannot sit at one place constantly, continuously for more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes or 20 minutes. They get distracted, disturbed easily, or disrupts others. Yes, they are known as children with ADHD. Hyperactivity, Turner syndrome. These are some of the genetic causes. I'm sorry, this season I'm also suffering from cough and cold, but by God's grace, I'm okay, I'm fine. Okay. All right. Further reasons includes environmental causes. During pregnancy, if mother undergoes some psychological disorders like depression, schizophrenia, there is a chance. Or any alcohol or drug abuse by mother during pregnancy particularly. Okay. Sir, what is this? Men can have the drugs and alcohol. It's not good for anybody. So also for the women, but particularly in the double interest of both mother and the child during the pregnancy period. Or pregnancy complications at birth. Lack of supply of oxygen for a fraction of seconds, a few seconds, or complicated delivery. These also have a chance. But if totally brain damaged, again, they can become mentally challenged, but not damaged, not disordered, but dysfunction. Okay, as we have seen. Right, now let's move on to the types of learning disability. Very popularly heard words, dyslexia. You also have a film by, I think, Shah Rukh Khan. Okay. What's the name of film? Somebody type in. Yes, Tare Zameen Par, right? After that film, at least LDs are very popular. So that's the one of the power of the media, film media, where it can sensitize the people and help the people to understand the things. All right. Till then, even parents, at least teachers, because as part of their D.Ed, B.Ed or other teacher education courses, were getting some sensitization, but parents was a great concern and a cause of concern for a long period. That made very popular about this LDs. One of the popular area of learning difficulty is dyslexia. What is dyslexia? It's that where children face reading problems. If his difficulty is reading, reversals of the words, skipping words, adding the words which are not there while reading, that's dyslexia. Then dysgraphia, problem with writing, rest all is okay. Not at all legible, not at all decipherable, leave about legibility. Okay. At times, the child also will not be able to read his own handwriting, leave about others. That kind of writing. Slight difficulties, even you can see my writing on the board. Okay, it has its own limitations. Like that, every teacher do have. We are not talking about that. Dyscalculia, difficult problems in arithmetic and mathematics. Instead of addition, subtraction, instead of division, multiplication, instead of greater than sign, he writes less than sign. Okay. So these kind of problems. Similarly, dysphasia, problem in speech and expression, simple requests, simple asking for the things, Also, they have challenges, will not talk, get together with the other people. Highly shy you will have, okay? Extreme, not this regular shy, not much talks to other people, friends or limited friends. We are not even extreme of that category, all right? Similarly, new two categories also added, dyspraxia and non-verbal learning. Recently, there was a question on which of the following is the learning difficulty a person is facing if he cannot move on his own easily. So dyspraxia, mobility, motor skills related challenge. Then non-verbal learning, trouble with non-verbal. First, just let me check, it's a new for me also. Non-verbal cues, that is body language. Oh, problem in understanding the body language of the others. Okay, that's also one type of emerging learning difficulty or disability. All right, yes, let's move on. So what's dyslexia? Right, the problem with the reading, that's what I said. All right, yes, then let's move on. Dysgraphia, slower written output. I have lots of ideas, but I can't write them down. So let's take a typical example. Teacher started her new class or the new year, and there was a new student. He has been answering so sharply. Teacher was sure that in the coming formative tests, who is going to get the first rank? That is Mr. Sharp Razu. Okay, and the test was conducted, results announced, and this Sharp Razu, whom teacher was expecting to score first rank, have got very low grade. Astonished by the results, teacher called this Sharp Razu and asked, Razu, what happened? You have answered all these questions. When I asked in the class, what happened to you? Why don't you write in the exam? And then sincerely Sharp Razu replied, teacher, if you want, you ask those questions now also, I will answer. Huh? How come? I can answer, but my problem is when I have a lot of ideas, but when I want to put them on paper, my problem is dysgraphia. He cannot, child of course, cannot come out like this, cannot express like this. Teachers have to understand that. Many children will have writing problems with neatness or legibility or tidiness, that kind of. By and large, they overcome it. In spite of the best training and attention paid, if a child cannot improve their handwriting, at least to the legible and readable range, yes, that's a typical symbol that child is facing a learning difficulty or disability known as dysgraphia. All right, yes. Then the next what you have is known as dyscalculia. What is this dyscalculia? Yes, some children, in spite of 4th grade, 3rd grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, still gets confused with addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, symbol of greater than and lesser than, and so on and so forth. If a child's difficulty is only in the area of arithmetic and mathematics, then his learning difficulty is known as dyscalculia. All right, dysphasia, speech and expression, talking to others and others facing difficulty in understanding your spoken words. All right, dyspraxia, just now I was talking about, yes, sensory integration disorder, problems with motor coordination. So what a big deal with this, sir? Yes, educational implications you have. Unless you have a good motor coordination, eye-hand coordination and fine motor and gross motor skills of your hand, the writing also tend to get affected. Mobility, going, following direct, moving particularly will be a challenge. You see here, so what can be done for them? Yes, you can give some tools. Ordinary pencil is not able to use properly, maybe a thick pencil, or even thick is also still is facing problem. You can add on like this some arrangements with the help of which they can use and they can overcome this dyspraxia challenge. The non-verbal learning disorders, trouble with non-verbal cues, that is body language, foot coordination, clumsy, and this is also one of the emerging subcategory of learning difficulties or disabilities, right? Then how to identify? This is a critical. Not only LD, for that matter, any of those children facing physical or mental challenges, one of the crucial important in the area of your inclusive education, special education, or meeting the needs of children with special learning needs and all these special education area, the most critical important thing is the identification. The earlier the identification, the better the possibility or probability of doing something needful for them. Okay, the late the identification, very less what we can do to them. So that's the reason this identification gets much importance. So then how to identify them? Parents' observation. All right. Yes. But for parents, there are two challenges with parents' observation. What is that? One is either parents are not aware. Most of the parents are not aware, right? Possible? Most of the parents are not aware. All right. So therefore, they may not be able to observe. But if sensitization is done, if we do that, that is possible, especially with regard to developmental milestones. As 9 months, 14 months, 16 months, 1 year comes, children have to attain some developmental milestone, first steps, first words, recognition of people. And if that is not there, if you say, no, he's very highly sincere, he's not making any noise, he's a good boy, that's okay, but there is a danger. Probably in future, you may find him some developmental problems. So therefore, parents' observation, the preliminary this thing, which can go a long way in identifying any category of children who facing challenges or with special reference to LDs. All right. Similarly, next, teacher observation. It's another important category. That's the important role of the teachers, their observation. What is this teacher's observation? When children come to school, normally they will be able to learn to read, write, do some simple arithmetic calculations, or if it is preschool graders, LKG, UKG, half KG, nursery, yeah, those kind of preschool categories, they are there, at least saying rhymes, talking to other people, interacting, having their own boxes. Yeah, that's also the dyspraxia, you can identify where the early signs of it. So teacher's observation. And then suppose either parent or teacher observes, but they are not sure whether it is only a normal, because in some children, there will be a slight developmental delay. This is one misconception where some pediatricians also, unfortunately, who are not sensitized about these things, tend to guide the parents in the other way around. It's okay, I have seen several children, they got talking or the words lately, that's not a concern. Then it will be too late to identify and give intervention. So therefore, what to do immediately? Consult a psychologist with the help of psychological tests who will determine whether it is only a normal developmental delay or is there any cause of concern where we have to take the needful things. All right. Okay, chalo, let's go ahead further with this. Then methods of teaching. What can we do? How can we teach children belonging to different learning difficulties? One important, most commonly used and most effective for these children is multi-sensory approach. Particularly now in inclusive context, multi-sensory is the best because different dominant learning style. Each individual is unique and you can't segregate and separate. So therefore, when you use multi-sensory, that's the best approach for inclusion, wherein VAKT, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, tactile. All right. So all these senses are involved in the process of teaching. So wherever possible, use the activity based. Learn by doing, joyfully learning, understanding individual differences and providing needful guidance. So all this part of multi-sensory approach. Then peer teaching. And the beautifully working method, an effective method in teaching these children is peer teaching. P-E-E-R, pronounced as peer teaching. What does it mean? Except mathematics, he is good in all subjects. You find similar other child who is except English is good in all other areas. Now you pair these two. The one who is good in all areas except maths, second one who is good in all areas except English. Now when you pair this child teach him the maths and this child will help him in English. Now many doubts which they cannot clarify with the teacher, they tend to clarify. It's not one dominating the other, right? So while using peer teaching, which of the following you as a teacher follow? Option 1, pair two equal abilities children, pair two backward children, pair two duller children or highly intellectual children, pair two children who can mutually help each other. Obviously, option yes, 4 is the better option, right? That's how the peer teaching helps. Then further, inclusive education, resource room where you have special equipment, methods, materials ready to be used. Itinerant teacher, because in our context, particularly in Indian context, one class, one teacher itself is still, we have several challenges, right? You have primary schools still with 2 or 3 teachers and elementary schools with 4 or 5 teachers, where 8 to 10 are supposed to be there. Now, under such circumstances, if you want some specially trained teachers, oriented teachers who are very less in number, now whose services along with the general teachers' services are required, then how do you use? So there is a method known as itinerant teacher who will go around 4 to 6 schools in a week basis. He go around and help the teachers to deal with those regular children. So thus inclusive spirit is followed and the needs of these children are also met. All right. Okay. Yeah. Then teacher consultation, same thing. Expert teacher will clear the doubts and give the strategies for the regular normal classroom children. They can bridge schools. So if they are lagging behind in 1 or 2 grades, again bridge schools will. Home-based instruction, especially severe challenges, dyspraxia is so severe that they cannot come and go to school. Then the last option you have is still home-based instruction until they get ready and they can cope up and come back to school. That's an important criteria there. All right. Okay. Then what are some of the skills of teaching that to be kept in while dealing with the children? Are you with me? Just somebody type in yes with you, sir. For a long time there was no response from you, the live learners. All right, but I could see live is going on fine. Okay. Yes. All right. Skills of teaching. When appropriate, team a reader with a non-reading student during in-class assignments. A strategy in peer teaching. When possible, break information into small steps when teaching many new tasks in one lesson. Yes, this is another important thing. Similarly, state objectives, review previous lesson, summarize periodically what can be done at a teacher end. Yes, thanks Mazabin for confirming that. And then allow time for clarification of directions and essential information. If any clarifications are there, allow them to do that. Provide alternative ways for the students to do tasks such as dictations or oral presentations. Don't worry to by heart or remember all this, just contextually. Sometime it may be useful for you to answer. So I'm making a mention of the points. If you can, don't worry to remember or by heart all these points. Okay. Provide assistance with proofreading written work. Because if dysgraphia is a problem, then they require what is known as a proofreader. So provide with this support service initially till their writing improves to an extent that where teacher or the child himself will be able to read that properly. Stress organization and ideas rather than mechanics when grading in class writing assignment. So that's what it says. Have some leverage understand their writing difficulties if they have reading or arithmetic. Okay. All right. Doesn't mean even if it's wrong, you give marks, but have some consideration and understanding. Allow the use of spell check and grammar assisted devices. These days, that's not a problem. And the moment you type in right, you will come across any grammar or spelling errors are there. When in doubt about how to assess the student, ask him or her. Yes, that's another beautiful thing. They themselves will suggest, what do you want exactly? Where do you have the problem? What help or support do you require? If you ask the child, there is every chance child himself respond and teacher can consider to progress from that point of view. All right. We are done with it here. Let me stop sharing here. And apart from, yes, let me see what else is along with the learning difficulties. As for your syllabus, there is also one more word used. Let me see what it is. Okay. And other disability, not disability, some keyword is used describing your syllabus. Let me just check what it is. I have the one with me. Yes, here was your syllabus copy. Let me check the syllabus. Yes. Yeah, impairment. All right. I'll just share this. You also can see the syllabus once. Okay. Yes, this is it. Here you could see. Let me, yes, increase the size of the font so that you'll be able to see. Second subtopic, addressing the needs of children with learning difficulties and impairment, etc. The third is the talented and creativity. Tomorrow we are going to discuss this. So along with the LDs, what you have is impairment. So what is impairment? Disability, impairment, deficiency, okay, retardedness or disorder. These are the keywords you hear, right? Yes. Note that if you have some hearing problem, not that you cannot hear at all. If you cannot hear at all, it's called disability. Is disabling the person. But you have some range of hearing problem. That's the physical status of it is known as impairment. Your ear has got some impairment which is disabling you or limiting you, or because of it you are facing the challenge. So these impairments can be the physical, hearing, or vision, or physical locomotor, or intellectual you also have, right? Which is also known as MR, mentally challenged. Earlier we used to call them mentally retarded, but we don't call now. We don't use that term because it is a derogatory term. Earlier in good old days, 10, 15, 20 years back books, we used to have the imbeciles, idiots, that kind of derogatory words, which are now derogatory. We should not use such terminology, but what you can call them, persons with intellectual challenges. That's the latest word, Divyangajan, as central government prefer to call them, but otherwise mentally challenged or intellectually challenged. All right. So these are some of the categories. So how you can as a teacher do that? It's not going into very specific techniques or strategies as for the syllabus, but what the syllabus addresses is how as a teacher you identify them, understand them, and try to meet their needs as far as possible in the regular classroom through guidance, through supportive services, to additional interest, motivation, attention, and so on. So forth as such. All right. So therefore, I'll just stop my presentation here. We end this session, and the next session follows English continuation. Today, English madam is presenting on the grammar, role of grammar in English language. All right, it's a pedagogy of your English language as paper 1 or 2. So before we close, do you have any questions, queries in this? Just ask me. Otherwise, tomorrow we will see gifted and creative, and also questions in all these 3 areas. The basic concept of differently abled children or disadvantaged children, and then this learning difficulties or disabilities, and gifted and creative. All right. Okay, then. Thank you so much for joining the live session, and see you back tomorrow at 7 p.m. with CDP live. But now, followed by this session, you have English session. All right. See you back. In 2 minutes, we'll share you. You can join back for English session. And this session again, continuation as usual as at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye then.